This is the EGC 20K Age of Empires 4 tournament. The quarterfinals are on. The last 8 generals are battling it out. Let's get this started! Duo Imperatores, Solus Vincere Potest. My name's Anuki, and settling in the north, cloaked in red, they defeated F-Pop, Say My Name, Juicy Slice, Mini Malt, Igers, and Veles. It's the Mista, settling in the south, cloaked in blue, they defeated State SC2, Jake, Kiras, Demon Sheep, Neroxus, and Probe. It's MarineLord. The map is Lipany. This is a first of a best of 5. A week has passed since the round of 16, and MarineLord still refuses to change their banner. Rocking the default one, they only care about playing. But as important as that is, what's more important is the Mista has chosen to lead France. MarineLord has taken up command of the English. What civilization players choose now is seriously significant. Double deer is here. What an incredible food opportunity. But let's talk about the map. More specifically, let's bring up the map pool for this best of 5. What civilization you play can end up being stronger or weaker based on the map. Furthermore, when you win as one civilization, you may not play that civilization again. We are on Lipany, but in the third match, there is Mongolian Heights, which features water, and then there's Boulder Bay, which has a huge sea. France is highly desirable on water maps because of their special hulking water unit. To put this into some context, this might be why MarineLord has gone England against the Mista's France. Now there's a deeper strategy in play with civilization choices in relations to the map. But let's not get too far ahead, let's assess Lipany. Lipany is basically very similar to Dry Arabia, but with a few extra elevated areas. The scouts meeting each other. One scout has more sheep than the other. But it's not about how many sheep you have, it's about how big your sheep is. That's what Grandma used to say. We could never get that giant sheep off of her, God rest her soul. And these maps are generated with the power of randomness, but there are rules, so you have a general idea of what to expect. This generation of Lipany is rather minor, very few elevated areas, not very big, nothing that really shifts the power to any civilization exactly. Now, I've seen a few Lipany maps with England in play, and I think it would be great for longbows to take advantage of some of the high elevated impassable terrains, because it's useful against cavalry. However, so far 3 weeks in, and I haven't seen any great spectacular use of it. If we bring up the civilization breakdown rather late, one of the things I think that works well here with a map like Lipany is England's network of castles. We've seen generals building outposts around the enemy's settlement to get that 25% attack speed. Building these outposts on elevated areas in key locations can give you a little extra defense and, equally important, vision. So the Mista is going the School of Cavalry, MarineLord going the Council Hall, and everyone else is coloring their book called Surprise, the sarcastic edition. Now, nothing has changed in a week for the game. It's all the same balance. Usually how this plays out is France gets cavalry, every other civilization has to play defensively. MarineLord might have to do the same until they have enough units to move out with, but there's some key factors here to look at. If you look at the map, MarineLord and the Mista are not too far away from each other. That reduced travel time will be useful for infantry units. England is only like the second most harassy civilization you can pick. They'll get longbows, they'll take out villagers at range. And another matter to consider is that the gold isn't at the back of the settlements. They are just off to the side. So you don't have to get around the back of the town center and put units in difficult positions. I think that's everything relevant to the current timer in-game. Action should start brewing up soon. Before that, though, maybe you can find it within your heart to take a look at the EGC Discord for future news on competitive events, whether you are interested in taking part or just spectating. And by the way, this position next to the double dares, the slightly elevated area, it would be so good for MarineLord to stick an outpost on this thing. You can lock off any entrance up there with a wall for less than, probably going to overestimate it, 20 wood. You would deny any access to the deer, and your longbows would be safe. 2 scouts out for the Mista, so maybe they might want to take these deer back to a mill rather than finding it out in the open. If this is the case, then I think that shows incredible foresight from the Mista. That's thinking ahead. They're also getting an outpost down here, which usually you don't see France doing that. And here comes 4 longbows and 2 pikes. I think the Mista likely scouted this out. MarineLord might be looking to snipe some villagers with 2 spearmen to deter any royal knights. There's a couple out at the moment. MarineLord really has this micromanagement style to them. Look at how individual the units are. Longbows to bow, scout to scout, and spears. Can you spot the pattern? Poke things away if they get too close. That's right. This is engaging on MarineLord's terms in 2 ways. Firstly, because obviously they are attacking, but secondly, controlling a small group of units like this. Perfect for micromanagement. The tower needed an occupant to fire back, but besides this, the longbows are able to navigate outside of the town center's range. What a world we live in where royal knights hide in a tower. And it is an interesting time we live in, because if MarineLord keeps this production up, then the harass is only going to get stronger. The Mista needs that gold for their royal knights. They do have an archery range up, so they might switch off, but competing against England in an archery battle? That doesn't end well either. MarineLord moving around the Mista settlement, but all of the villagers are hugging close, trying to keep their distance. A lot of gold workers. Whilst there is time to do so, the Royal Knights are moving out. Maybe they can stop some of the reinforcements taking individual fights. MarineLord, though, notices it's coming, starts retreating with those soldiers. The Mista will still need to move their villagers out of the way if they get back into that wood line. I think MarineLord thinks it might be too risky to do that, but it's incredible seeing, like, scout, spears, and longbow sort of working together like that. Usually everyone just pulls their stuff up, just, you know, sends it in. But we have some nice cooperation between the different elements. And the Mista sees an opportunity to move out. The scouts are collecting the deer. The knights discover the longbows, but the spearmen are not too far away from them. The Mista understands that this is a delicate situation. They don't want to engage, but what I will say is if they do choose to attack, kill the spearmen first. Knights are still stronger than spearmen. The longbows are less of a threat because knights are heavily armored. They can shrug those arrows off. Get rid of the bonus damage that the spears do to you first before you consider the lesser threat. MarineLord once again shoved the Mista's gold, the miners, away. Their small squad starting to become a large one. Not long after, a platoon. This is a difficult situation to deal with for sure. The Mista could go send their Royal Knights to raid MarineLord to try and incur a similar level of economic damage, but the problem with that, though, is the longbows can do a much better job. The spears clash with the Royal Knights. Even the scout is fighting. The villagers climb into the outpost to help out. This isn't enough knights anymore. The spears have amassed enough. Just enough to trade themselves. They may all almost die, but victory here goes to MarineLord on a technicality. But before that, I was just going to say the Mista could send out their own raiding party, but the problem with that is the longbows can do a much better job of killing villagers, so you don't want to get into that kind of base trade. The Mista is collecting deer in the north, so at least they've got food and wood for now. Regarding that winning on a technicality, though, it was mostly longbows that was left for MarineLord. One knight can take on a lot of longbows. But it's not just about that. Spearmen, to a degree, work exponentially, like good in large numbers. How fast can MarineLord bring spears back up to those kind of numbers? You'd think faster than the Mista can field Royal Knights, but there's already 5 knights to 5 spearmen. And we mustn't forget the longbows can regenerate health with their bonfire, so long as they aren't moving. So taking some poke from a tower arrow, yeah, not a problem. MarineLord having a lovely time with their economy. Has 0 threat since the pressure is being constantly applied to the Mista. As you can see, just moving in to snipe some villagers and then back out to heal up with the bonfire. Longbows really feel like the marine of Age of Empires. By the way, I never spoke about that second mining camp on the gold. That's because I either trust you as a viewer to understand that the second mining camp was built for that little extra distance, trying to allow the gold miners to mine more safely. Ooh, MarineLord looking for a different angle of attack. The Mista might just head out for their own attack. The other reason why I don't mention stuff like that? What was that noise? It must have been the strangely orgasmic wind. Yeah, the other reason why I don't mention stuff like that is because I get the feeling if you didn't know why they did that, using your eyes and your eye sockets, you probably aren't interested in the explanation for it. Like me. You want to see battles, generals teetering on the edge of sanity, weaving orders to the brave life lumps of naivety that fight to protect paying you taxes, the complete gullible muppets? That's what you want to see, isn't it? Sorry, I became strangely hostile there. If you would like to offer me forgiveness, then hop on down to the Ironcast Discord where you can directly criticize me. Also, we just opened up a new role for Scouts. We're looking for great games to showcase. If you think you can find some great games, then you might be perfect for the candidate to become a Scout. To join, check the video description. To enlist in MarineLord's assault, I advise not, because the Royal Knights and Archers are combining their forces. And this time, it might work out in the Mista's favor. The spears get in, poking away. The longbows try and fight the enemy archers. And the Mista seems to be doing a good job at carving their way through to the longbows. An outpost is making its way here. Can MarineLord get it up? I wish MarineLord could have got it up on the hill. A tower like that would have been a glorious thing to behold. The Mista finds their footing this time. The archers are great for dealing with the spears, and the knights can soak up a little of that bonus damage. But they didn't want to commit any more than that. And that's just fine. But now, another outpost is being constructed. This one would be frightening. The network of castles attack speed bonus on your doorstep. No thank you, says the Mista. But what are they going to do about it? Riding in with the knights. The spearmen are quickly killed, but the villagers are able to get the outpost up and hop inside. These events, which are transpiring right outside the Mista settlement, are disturbing. Not stopping that tower is a cause for concern. All the knights welcomed by peril. The Lord of Murder, MarineLord, can take the next steps to world domination. They'll likely want to grab some battering rams and commit to this feudal age push. The Mista will try and settle to the west, Will the villagers be safe to gather food there? And I think MarineLord is also going to want to start getting farms up, avoiding any mid-game food crisis. Here comes that battering ram. Scotland will once again batter something, and that something is likely going to be the Mista's outpost. What can burn the battering ram? Not much at the moment. MarineLord would like nothing more than villagers to try and take that task. MarineLord focusing the archers as the outpost gets demolished. The knights are pretty low, but it's the archers that first must go, is what the bard sung. Reinforcements should be on their way for MarineLord. Here's a few. The knights got overkilled, littered with arrows. MarineLord's got all villagers on food and wood. They probably want to commit to this even more now, because this appears to be what success looks like. the Mista stealing some deer. Scout slayers. But the longbows weren't happy about that. Definitely happy about killing 2 scouts though. Big cheers all around. Next in the battering ram line, the town center, the big one. People like to call it the TC. I, however, like to give it its full respective title, because I'm talking to you through sound, not text, SMS. And I don't know what SMS stands for. I assume send message, send. And the message is received. MarineLord doesn't think they can end this quite yet. They don't want to overextend. Maybe they'll get some new battering rams, top spec ones with reverse cameras. Farms are happening back at BB, the blue base, for all the cool hip Age of Empires 4 players that don't have time to say town center or blue base. The Mista sending their small force to the west, and new stables in the works too, but it feels like they are already struggling to support their current needs. MarineLord back in action. And it's a tough spot for friends. They need archers to deal with the spearmen, but they can't outdo the longbows, and this is the result. MarineLord barely getting that many spears anymore. They feel they can do just fine dealing with the remaining knights with longbows and that attack speed bonus. The Mista able to force the battering ram away with the villagers burning it down. The villagers, ooh, close to being sniped there. MarineLord, though, doesn't want to stop this engagement. Keeps drawing the Mista into battle, forcing their French hands to French fight back. The English, they're not starved for a desire to fight. Quick chip putty and then back to wailing on the town center. If you are going to get a chip buddy after this, hit that like button. If not, hit that dislike, buddies. It doesn't seem like there is much left for the Mista to do. Their force gets smaller every time they fight, and the battering ram just keeps taking these tremendously long run-ups. Here it goes again from a distance. Ah, there we have it. The white flag is raised. France has been defeated. The first victory of this best of 5 goes to MarineLord. A quick 20-minute match. Now, I need to get on a carriage and make my way over to the dry Arabia. My name's Anuki, and I hope to share my carriage with you. Come on, let's go. There's so many more games to see. Oh, and don't forget the chip butties, will ya?